There's a kind of magic that only a few games ever really capture. Not just nostalgia, but a feeling of discovery and wonder. Nikoderiko doesn't just capture that magic, it understands it. And from the very first level, you know it's got it. Do you remember when you used to spend entire summers in a dark room, your PS1 sitting just a foot away from you and warm from constant use?
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
And my friends and I would play Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Croc, anything that dropped us into a magical world with bright colors and amazing secrets. Those games didn't care about microtransactions or live service models. They were just simple, joyful, and endlessly replayable. Now, I had never heard of Nikoderiko, the magical world, before. What I saw was just a charming cover and a vague sense of, hey, this looks kinda something I'd play on my PS1. And as I started my adventure, it hit me. This game isn't trying to reinvent platformers, it's built on what made them special in the first place. It becomes quickly obvious that Nikoderiko is a love letter to fans of old-school run-and-jump games. The level design is great, and each area feels handcrafted. Enemy designs are clever, you don't need a tooltip or a tutorial box, you just understand what each one does by just looking at them. There's even a 2D to 3D perspective switch on some levels, like you would see on Crash Bandicoot, for example. You shift from side-scrolling to behind-the-back action, and it plays great. The 3D sections, though, are sometimes a little bit harder to manage than they should, probably from the field of view, making depth perception a bit quirky. Each biome also adds new interesting mechanics, fun level ideas, and special levels that make the game never feel boring. From pillars that try to crush you or a gigantic dragon chasing you, to flying on the back of an enemy or a fun little cart ride section. The game always surprises you with really cool little moments that keep you engaged and smiling. And at the end of each biome, you'll face a boss to unlock the next one. Those were all completely different and had fun challenges to overcome, which made each biome have a really satisfying ending. They also came up with this absolutely brilliant idea of having a stress reliever at the end of each level, in the form of a cobring barrel you must punch relentlessly. And after having a hard time reaching the end of a level, it feels so good to mash your controller. One thing I noticed in my playthrough though is that sadly shifts in perspective get lost later in the game, but when they show up they're always a treat. And while the game starts really strong with fun gameplay variants, it does fizzle out by the end of the game.
Silence! It matters not!
I'm pretty sure this is more a case of having a limited budget over a lack of creativity though. But there's a lot more to look forward than your simple main campaign playthrough. There's a bunch of things you can hunt for in each level, ranging from nice to have if you're a completionist, to useful currency you can spend in a workshop to get a ton of collectibles like 3D characters, music, artwork, or useful gameplay features. Each level has 4 letters that spell Nico like in Donkey Kong Country, flying yellow orbs that look like an updated version of Looms from Rayman, and scrolls that are quite well hidden. As for gameplay features, you can buy consumable mounts. These will be inside crates you can open at specific points in each level that you can break and use to help you out. And each type of mount is unlocked as you progress through the game. You'll get a boar you can hop on that smashes through enemies and the environment, or a dinosaur with Yoshi-like powers. And it's not just a gimmick either, it's actually a pretty smart feature. It's a really cool way to ease the challenge on a level you might be struggling with, or to get where you need faster to find secrets you haven't found before when replaying a level. On top of that, there's also secrets in each level, and they're not just some hidden, useless things to waste your time. See, the level design itself hints at hidden routes with important currency or special levels in them, and trust me, you'll want to find these. You'll soon unlock the secret world, each of its levels gated by a number of keys you must spend. And those keys? They're hidden inside 2 secret minigames tucked away in regular levels. As for the final level of the secret world, it's also gated but with a different currency, giant purple gems. Each level has one of those and they're usually super hard to find. The first ones are easy enough though, as the game teaches you what to look for, but later you have to be really good at spotting paths where you might find them. The secret world level unlocks being tied to rare currencies was such a great idea, plus there's a big surprise for those patient enough at the end.
But do not delude yourselves, my little friends. This will not be a walk in the park.
You'll really have to use all your knowledge of the mechanics to beat these. All in all, I feel like this game really has the kind of design that makes you want to replay levels, to hunt, to discover. But not because of some checklist, no. Because you're curious. Because you want to see everything the game has to offer. But of course, this all falls apart if the controls didn't feel right. Well, the moveset itself is pretty limited. You can jump, glide, pound the ground, slide, and when underwater, you can torpedo yourself. That's pretty much it. But the genius is in the details and the smart coding of some of these. See, the sliding mechanic has a satisfying quirk. If you hit an enemy and there's another one nearby, you keep sliding longer than you should. You chain hits, and that small tweak adds so much rhythm and satisfaction to how you move and dispatch a group of enemies. On top of that, the game overall is incredibly responsive. And yes, there's nothing new or groundbreaking, but it doesn't need to. Just solid controls and solid gameplay. The game also has 3 difficulty settings which I love, and from what I heard, there's more to come soon. I could play solo and enjoy a tough challenge, or hand the Switch to my kids and let them experience it too. My 4 and 8-year-old both had a lot of fun together, which is kinda rare for a game that isn't designed like a toddler's TV show. I didn't expect this game to move me the way it did, but it did. It's not flawless though. The story is barely there, and the music is for the most part repetitive and forgettable, which is kind of surprising given that the composer David Wise was also the one responsible for the amazing soundtracks of Yooka-Laylee and Donkey Kong Country. And the repetitive music hurts even more during each biome's boss fight. But where I can forgive the story, since it's not usually a feature for this kind of games anyways, I have a really hard time going past the music. It was really the one area where the game failed for me. Still, even with all these downsides, I get it. Budget constraints, small team, limited time, and despite all that, they still pulled off something great to play and beautiful to look at. So, with all that said, this game had me thinking. Where most gaming giants chase engagement stats and seasonal monetization, VA Games is here instead making a game that reminds us why we started playing in the first place. Games like Nikoderiko The Magical World don't come from a place of trend analysis, they come from a place of love and respect. Other than the late game boss fight that had me pull my hair out with an incredibly frustrating intermission, I spent every moment of my 8 hours playing the main campaign with a smile on my face. But don't get confused by the playtime here. The real game only starts when you commit to the secret world, and boy, these levels will test your patience. But for the most part, I was 9 years old again, just trying to master the maps, find all the treasures, and have the best time going through the whole experience, which quickly inflated my time with the game to upwards of 60 hours. Heck, I liked it so much that even though I was offered a review key on Steam, I went out and bought a copy for the Switch, and that's where most of my playtime is. The game kinda flew under the radar of so many, but the potential for this game would be phenomenal with more budget to iron out its less polished aspects. I'm really excited to see what they could do in the future. This has the seed of a great indie franchise, and I would really love to see the developers bloom that into existence. Now, if you want to check another completely unknown indie game that blew me away with how smart it was, check out our review of Death Kid. And if you liked the video, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.